Morning Edition police appeal for your help as they investigate an overnight murder. Dominican poachers find millions of dollars. And we introduce you to a teenager who is spreading the gospel. It's a Monday and the start of yet another week. Good morning, everyone. I'm LaDawn Davis, and this is the Morning Edition. Thank you so much for waking up with us. You are looking at a live shot of the Atlantis Resort on Paradise Island, courtesy of ZNS Tower Cam here on Rusty Bethel Drive. We are experiencing some downpours on the outside, and to give our weather outlook this morning is Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean. Good morning, Basil.
Good morning, LaDawn. We did have some heavy early morning showers, but most of those showers have wasted away, and that's courtesy of a prefrontal trough that's affecting us. All the details on that coming up later in the newscast, so stay tuned. But outside of our studios, we have cloudy skies, temperatures 72 degrees, relative humidity 88%. The winds are out of the east at 14 miles per hour, barometric pressure 1,018.0 millibars at 30.06 inches, and it is rising. Temperatures around the islands this morning, 80 degrees in Freeport, Grand Bahama, also Green Turtle Key, Marsh Harbor at 74 as we take you into the Berry Islands, 79 degrees there. 80 degrees in Harbor Island, by the way. Here in the capital, we already told you, 72. 80 in Fresh Creek, Central Andrews, Kemps Bay and South Andrews, also Staniel Key at 80. 80 over in Otterstown, Cat Island as well. San Salvador and Rum Key, 80 degrees. More 80s in Betsy Bay, Maguana, Crooked Island, Clarencetown, Long Island, Acklands, Ragged Island as well. A little cooler in Matthew Town, Niagara at 79 degrees. 81 degrees in the Turks and Caicos Islands. Your boating forecast for today, northeast winds 15 to 20 knots, wave heights 4 to 6 feet, so caution flags are in place for your boaters in the northwest Bahamas, and your low tide will take place at 12:04 this afternoon, high tide at 6:05 this evening. And for the central and southeastern islands, winds northeast to east 10 to 15 knots, wave heights not too bad, 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. And that's going to do it for your first look at weather, the Morning Edition. Stay tuned, your forecast for today and tonight is still ahead.
Thanks a lot, Basil. As we said earlier, the streets are wet and it could affect your daily commute. Traffic police are encouraging motorists to drive with extreme caution and care this morning. Jimanita Swain joins us live with traffic police this morning. Good morning, Jimanita.
Good morning, LaDawn, and good morning, Bahamas. We're coming to you live from the intersection at Marathon Road. You see a lot of traffic is on the road, but today has been a very soggy morning so far. And one of the things that traffic officials want motorists to know is how to operate on wet streets. So joining us now live is, of course, Sergeant Cressida Johnson of the Traffic Division. Good morning, Sergeant Johnson. A very wet morning.
A pleasant good morning to you and a pleasant good morning, Bahamas. Well, we know that when we have wet road conditions, that we have an increase in accidents. And this is due to the fact that persons are not paying attention, as well as there's some vehicles that have defective conditions. And that is their braking system is not fully functional. So we ask persons to check your brakes. Just pump your brakes. We know that when it's raining, that traction, that friction in the road is not going to be at its usual rate. So we ask you to check your braking systems as well as the tires. Make sure you have no thread that is hanging from your tires. Additionally, another problem that we face is when the puddles settle on the side of the street. We have persons who do not maintain their lanes. So we're asking if you have to divert from your lane that you ascertain your way clear before entering the next lane, and as soon as you could, get back into your lane.
But that's not only on the sides of the streets. You also encounter that on the highway as well. You have pockets of water that settles in different places.
Yes, especially on the highways. We have an end going at that particular rate of speed on the highway. We have persons who just do this sudden move and they drift over into the next lane suddenly, and this is one of the main causes of our accidents. So we're asking persons to just make sure while you're driving to be attentive and to mind your speed, especially on the highways, mind the puddles of water, and in addition to that, the pedestrians. If you see pedestrians, the kids going to school, persons trying to make their way to work, just to be mindful of these persons, do not splash them. Let's be courteous.
Courteous is important on mornings, especially like this. Nobody wants to get wet.
No.
But there you have it, motorists. Be careful. You have other motorists that you should be mindful of, and of course those pedestrians. So back to you in Studio LaDawn.
Thanks a lot, Jimanita. Breaking overnight, a man is gunned down in an over-the-hill community while a second male was rushed to hospital. Police were called to the murder scene on Dorset Alley off West Street after 10 o'clock last night. Head of the Central Detective Unit, Chief Superintendent Solomon Cash, updated the media on the scene.
Once the officers arrived on the scene, they met two victims. One who was unresponsive at the time, the other one was suffering from apparent gunshot wound to the lower portion of his body. The only information the police is working with thus far is that shortly before 10, both victims pulled up here on a small moped motorcycle when they were accosted by a lone gunman who opened fire on both victims, subsequently shooting both. EMS was called in, who pronounced the unresponsive male deceased on the scene, and the second victim was transported to the hospital for medical treatment.
Also this morning, police in Inagua are still investigating an industrial accident that has left a man dead. Preliminary reports are that shortly after 7 on Sunday morning, a shipping vessel was attempting to dock at Morton Salt when a male crew member got entangled in a rope. Police say the man was taken to the clinic and later was pronounced dead by a local doctor. Over 100 Dominicans told not to return to the Bahamas after they were given heavy sentences and fines over the weekend. Collectively, the Dominicans were levied $6 million in fines and all sentenced to 6 months in prison with warnings of additional 6 months if fines are not paid. The foreigners were apprehended in the southern Bahamas a week ago. They also had their possession close to 70,000 pounds of crawfish and scalefish. Chief Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson noted that some of the poachers are repeat offenders. This morning, Blind Awareness Month continues in the country with emphasis on issues impacting this sector of our society. This week, the Morning Edition will be placing special emphasis on the Center for the Blind and its work in our community. Officials there tell us that the facility is making a tremendous impact in the lives of the blind.
We take children from preschool, really, and take them all the way up through to they finish high school. So our students, we get to know them very, very well, and they know from one year to the next how they're progressing and all that sort of thing. And our program is basically the same as what's in the regular school program, plus extras for visually impaired persons, such as mobility training, learning Braille, learning to function without or with very low vision or without vision in things like washing your clothes and preparing meals and interacting in spaces that you're not familiar with, and all those types of things that we kind of take for granted.
And still to come, a budding preacher spreading the gospel across the capital. That story and more when the Morning Edition comes right back. Welcome back to the Morning Edition. The young will bump heads with the young at heart for the first ever Golden Oldies Dance, a night of nostalgia flashback Friday. The main event is on Friday, November 2nd, and the goal is to raise funds to assist with a number of programs for the Bahamas Red Cross. Representative Brenda Lee Roll told ZNS News that the association had to turn away Bahamians in need of food, clothing, and shelter because they simply don't have the means to help. She is encouraging Bahamians everywhere to come out and support the cause.
It's so important for the community to come out and assist the Red Cross. We find that we have a lot of persons donating just for disaster, but I want persons out there, corporate Bahamas and individuals, to know that Red Cross is more about just disaster. We have some vulnerable persons in our communities, persons who don't know what they're going to have for dinner the next day, not even know what they're going to have for dinner that evening. And so we have persons coming into us who are unable to get assistance from either the government agencies at this time. And so they come to Red Cross looking for a food box. We have our meals. We have 130 persons on our Meals on Wheels program, which is senior citizen disabled persons who are unable to move around. And so they depend on us to come and bring them that food on a daily basis. And we serve that food from Monday to Saturday. And so when we have to turn away people, it hardens my heart.
Rose says if you are interested in participating in the fundraising event to assist the Red Cross with its programs, you can do so by purchasing tickets at the Bahamas Red Cross.
It's much more than just disaster. And so we want people to donate, not only when it's an event of a disaster, donate continuously to the Red Cross to help with the programs that help the persons the most vulnerable in our communities.
How can persons, I guess, support the initiative on November 7th?
Well, you can contact the Red Cross here. We have regular tickets are going for $25 and the VIP tickets is $40. And with that VIP tickets, you get your own service, your hors d'oeuvres. You have constant care that night. The night is planned to be a fun night, but also a night for people to realize how serious the Red Cross is about raising funds to assist those in the community.
A complicated custody battle has finally ended for a family divided by jurisdiction and torn by legal wrangling. This morning, we share with you the story of a single father who only after a DNA test was finally able to adopt his own son. Kelsey Johnson reports.
She always say she loves me, but I really think that she don't really believe it. She just saying it. She always say she's gonna come here, speak to me, but really, I don't really care about it.
14-year-old Donovan Wilson has been on an emotional roller coaster ride from the day he was born in Jamaica, the home country of his mother, who is a Jamaican national. At 3 months old, Donovan's mom brought him back to the Bahamas to his father, Harrison Wilson, who later had to adopt his own son.
I don't want to say it like this, but it's foolishness to me to hear that I have a paper say I adopted my own son. People don't realize that every day what fathers like me have to go through trying to fight for their own children, son, daughters, or whatever, you know. He was in court with me. Wow. And just to hear the judge say, this is your son now, you finally adopted him, that's the weirdest piece of garbage I ever heard.
Harrison said he had many sleepless nights not knowing when the mother would come and try to take Donovan away. Even though he knew Donovan was safe, he still worried a lot because he never married the mother and young Donovan was not a Bahamian citizen with a Bahamian passport. And even though Harrison was going through the process of adoption, it wasn't getting any easier.
How it is that I have to go through all of this. You understand? I take him from before he was 1 year old. I practically breastfeed my son, sitting on numerous nights, him sleeping on my chest, up until he was probably 3 years old. You know? Then to hear that, hey, you only got 1 year guardianship over your son. Then the following year, hey, you got guardianship through your social service. Social service? Garbage. You understand? That means social service have rights over him more than me.
An emotional Donovan fought back tears while he expressed how he felt going through the process.
Why doesn't not really my mother, but why don't she just give him the rights? Because really, every night, he's pushing hard to fight for me. And I understand how hard it is in life. Because one day, I might go through the same process as him, and I might feel the pain. But that's just how life is.
And Donovan had these words for his father.
You're the best. You're the best.
Kelsey Johnson, ZNS Network News.
Great story there, Kelsey. Also, if you happen to pass in the southern end of New Providence, you may have seen him, a young Bible-toting young man preaching in our streets. Charles Fisher has his story and why he feels the need to spread the message of God.
He has been preaching the gospel for 7 years. 18-year-old Mavian Hannah has come across lots of people, some positive and some with lots to say, good and bad.
I meet people tell me, keep it up. And I meet pastors, also pastors told me, they invite me and they call me to preach to their church. But I meet people told me, stop preaching. But when they told me that, I didn't listen to them. I continue to come out here and preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. Because why? Because I knew this my calling. Some laugh at me, some call me crazy, some told me, go home, stop preaching, or study the Bible. And when they told me that, I didn't listen to them. See, I listened to the word of God. And I listen to the word of God and I keep coming to just preaching and spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Mavian has a routine. Twice a day, morning and evening, he can be found on the street corner.
I love doing this every day because why? This is my joy. I love doing this I love preaching and teaching the Word of God because when I do this, I feel happy. I just feel happy doing this.
His goal in faith is to be a full-time preacher, but not just here in the Bahamas.
I want to travel around the whole world like Dr. Miles Monroe. Dr. Miles Monroe travel around the whole world. And I also want to have my own jet also, traveling around the whole world. Because why? That's my mission. When God called me, he told me I must go around the whole world preaching and teaching the gospel of Jesus Christ. Because why? The Bible said in Mark chapter 15, Jesus Christ told the disciples, go into all the world and preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. But watch this. He told the disciples, go into all the world. Because why? Because why? The gospel of Jesus Christ is not only for the Bahamas, it's for the whole world. Because why? When Jesus Christ came into the world, he came to die for the whole world, not for only one nation. He told the disciples, go ye into all the world and preach the gospel of Jesus Christ.
For now, Maven says he will continue to impact lives in the Bahamian community. For the ZNS News Network, I'm Charles Fisher.
Such a humbled young man. And finally this morning, veteran dancer Lawrence Carroll is showing off some unique moves to us and also gave some tips to Sieska Adderley. Take a look.
Dancing to your favorite song can put you in the best mood if only for a few minutes. But for Lawrence Carroll, dancing is a way of life. He has been dancing since the age of 14, so he knows the benefits firsthand. Carroll, who is the CEO of the Lawrence Carroll Dance Academy, notes that physical activity, especially dancing, is key to have you looking and feeling your best.
The top part of the torso stays over the various positions that you have to go through. And that's where you increase in flexibility without doing absolutely anything. Physicality for a dancer is bigger, stronger, and there are more things that you have to do. Because the basic, what everybody else do, basically we do it completely differently. So with us it's just a whole different experience.
At the Academy, Carroll teaches his students classical ballet, modern jazz, and stretch.
You have to make your muscles pliable. So you have to go through this series of exercises to increase your flexibility. And for older people, it becomes a little bit painful. However, if you go through the pain, eventually in time, your flexibility will increase.
He started me off in a series of slow stretch exercises, which is a staple in all of his classes. And being a former student of his, I remember it all too well. It was actually something that I had dreaded, so it would be interesting to see how I would do after all this time. I was actually pleasantly surprised at the outcome.
So I still got it. Just want all of you to know I haven't quite lost it. I just got to practice just a little bit, but I got it. Now the question is, LaDawn, Fisher, do y'all have it? That's the bigger question.
Well, call me in. Let's do another session and see if they got it.
So I survived stretching, but is the dance still within me? I was about to find out as Carroll quickly threw a modern jazz combo at me. I won't lie, I was rusty at first, but it felt good getting back into it. And according to Carroll, the beauty of dance is that there is no age limit.
You can come into dance at any point, based on when you come in will determine how you work. It's all possible. You can do it up until you're 100 years old if you wish. I mean, there is absolutely no limit.
So, no excuses. Let's get up and start moving. Better yet, let's dance. Sieska Adderley, ZNS Network News.
Now, Fisher, I know you and I can top Sieska. We can do a much better job than that.
I did right there because I saw the dance you and Sieska did to last year's ZNS Christmas party. I'm still trying to understand how come chiropractor was there, because what y'all were doing was just totally out of whack.
That's not true, Fisher. You wasn't even at the party. What's coming up in sports?
Coming up in sports, World Judo Championships that finished yesterday at the Atlantis Resort, and high praise for Team Bahamas. Also, a big game in the Volleyball Association yesterday. Yes, I was at the Christmas party. I was outside, and after I see you and Sieska dancing, I say, hell no, I'm not going in there to get kicked. So I stayed outside.
That story and more ahead in sports.
Good morning once again. 5 days of competition close at the World Junior Judo Championships Sunday at the Atlantis Resort. 67 countries, 427 athletes in total, competed in high-level competition, with Japan once again claiming the overall championship. Bahamian coach Diasi Raming feeling despite the Bahamas not winning any matches, Team Bahamas did us proud.
The level here is very, very high. These countries that you see win Olympic medals. Only 25 countries here took home medals. The others did not. The Bahamas is new at the sport. It's growing, but it needs time and development. You know, our budget isn't the same size as their budget, but from talking with all the coaches in the region and other coaches, they say you just need more time, more experience, and it'll come. You know, this is something that we as a federation want to win on the athlete side, on the coaching side, and so we're going to keep going until we get it.
International Judo Federation Sports Director Daniel Lasco was impressed with the way Team 242 hosted this major event.
First time in the South American continent in Bahamas to organize the Junior World Championships, and the organization was very good. I can say that the local organizing committee has done big efforts to offer to everybody a very nice event. A nice event in terms of organization, a nice event in terms of the location, a nice event in terms of atmosphere. When the athletes are going home and the coaches, they will have a piece of Bahamas with them.
The ladies taking center court in the Providence Volleyball Association action Sunday at the Donald Davis Gym. Johnson Lady Truckers still wearing pink to support Breast Cancer Month, and they took it to the defending champ Scottsdale Vixens in a 5-set marathon, 25-16, 12-25, 9-25, 15-15, and 15-14.
I think that we were very mentally tired and also physically tired as well. We needed a few more players on the bench. We made a lot of mistakes that we shouldn't have. Balls dropped in the middle of court time after time. So I think, you know, we just have to go back on the drawing board, get a few more players out, and be ready for next game.
Buddy Hield and the Sacramento Kings picking up their first win of the NBA season. Buddy back in his old college grounds of Oklahoma, taking on the Thunder. Shot 2 for 4 from behind the three-point arc. Only took 11 shots and made 6 of them in 23 minutes of play, and scored in double figures for the 4th straight game, finishing with 17 points, 5 rebounds in the high-scoring 131-120 win. Kings play again Tuesday. They travel to Denver. Bahamas Lawn Tennis Association Senior Nationals going on at the Gym Tennis Club in Winton. Tournament director is Bradley Bin, who explains the format.
First week we dealt with under 35 men and women, singles, doubles, and mixed doubles. And this second week of the tournament we're dealing with 65 and over singles, 45 and over singles, 45 and over doubles, both men and women. To conclude the first week, in the ladies singles, we had Kelly Kerr, who won the ladies singles over Rita Roy, and Robbie Isaacs won the men's 35 and over singles. He defeated John Isaacs, and so we're still concluding the 55 and over.
And that's going to do it for your first look at sports. Let's have a great work week ahead.
In our final look at weather, the tropics remains quiet, but on our satellite picture, we have this stalled out front boundary across the extreme northern Bahamas, and that's creating some shower activity around Abaco and Grand Bahama, and it will start sinking towards the south starting tomorrow, and that will spread some showers throughout the northwest Bahamas right into Wednesday, when we expect the front boundary to push through the capital, and perhaps will be the first front boundary to affect us for the season, so we can anticipate some cooler nighttime temperatures shaping up. Today we're going in for mostly cloudy conditions with occasional showers, particularly in the afternoon. High temperature today getting up to 85 degrees. And tonight we will see variable cloudiness with scattered showers developing, even a thunderstorm or two possible during the early morning hours. 72 degrees for your low temperature, and the extended weather forecast over the next 7 days. Showers in our forecast right through Tuesday. Front boundary goes through on Wednesday. Things dry out quite nicely. Lots of sunshine thereafter and some milder daytime temperatures. LaDawn?
Thanks, Basil, and that does it for the morning edition. Thank you so much for waking up with us once again. I'm LaDawn Davis. See you right back here tomorrow morning.